We could be here a long time, put on a cup of tea. I'm not going to be building this one in this little video. Instead, we're going to be talking about this model because for me, this is the beating heart wrenched from the molten crucible of Vulcan's forge of plastic modelling. This is what it's all about, to my mind. I know there's a whole modern new wave of model making, so to speak, which has billions of microscopic parts and photo etched knees and elbows and I don't know what and all of that. And I find I'm subconsciously avoiding them because I get bored. And they're no fun. Whereas this is everything it needs to be. First thing is, it's 3 parts, which is great. It's the quad, the limber, and the gun. Then add to that, there's figures, not phenomenally well made or active, but still figures. That was great fun when I was a kid. Not so worried now, but it's still part of the joy. All that was missing were the scenic extras. And the other thing is, it's straightforward. I mean, these days it would be, the word is simple, but it was straightforward. There was nothing truly beyond taxing about it. A couple of fiddly bits and a couple of bits that didn't really fit, but that didn't matter. What this is a fantastic piece of imaginative design, looking at the whole thing and saying, right, this is going to work out to be a kind of set piece. And of course you can use the figures on something else and have the whole thing hitched up and on the move. So you could buy it at least twice. But it's really all about this world of simple, straightforward, unadulterated pleasure. Because, as I was saying, sometimes I find some of the models out there these days are just too much, really. And this one's got it. There are millions which are better than this in terms of scale, detail, accuracy, all of that. They're much better. It's not just because this is old or vintage or nostalgic. It's because this one sums up the pleasure of making a model. And we'll keep going around in this loop because there are some models out there that have no pleasure whatsoever, even though everything fits together perfectly. The other thing about this is that it's captured, I mean you could say 3, but in effect 2 really classic items. The gun itself, the 25-pounder, and the quad. And they could have been done separately, or they could have been done in other combinations. You could have had the gun with maybe a landscape, a bit like the forward command post. You could have had the quad in all kind. I mean, those things ended up, whether they were meant to or not, pulling just about everything with wheels and a hitch. So you could have had an awful lot. It could have been embellished or even over embellished with all kinds of bits and pieces. Hello, the cat's woken up, which she always does. With loads of luggage and bits and pieces all over it. I might buy another one of these and have it all hitched up and over embellish it, because it's good fun. But they've kept it simple and they've kept it straightforward so that you don't lose track of what you've actually got. So you don't imagine, or you don't fool yourself into thinking that the quad came with, always came with a load of fuel cans or 5 bicycles or anything like that. I'd like to see a model of the quad. I haven't looked. I'd like to see a model of the quad, any scale, with the crew inside, because it must have been incredibly cramped. And I think this model gives a sense of that, actually, because you get the figures alongside it. The moment you open this thing up, you're aware that these guys were going to squeeze into this tiny little box on wheels. And I think that's also part of what's really important about it. ESCI or ESCI used to do, I think it's now taken up by Revell. No, I meant Italeri, didn't I? Yes, that's who it is anyway. I'll correct that. By Revell. They used to do the desert version with a good team, and it was all very well done as well, and that was a pleasure. That was also a good one. But this is the epitome of that simple, make it in an afternoon kind of joy. And that's why I'm doing this little program, film thing, video, whatever, to remind myself, to act as a benchmark, a touchstone for me when I'm getting myself in a tangle, or when I'm overdoing it, or when I'm stuck in the middle of some 50,000 part model, that this is really what it's all about, and it's worth buying another one at least, or several, or having a fleet or whatever, just for the sheer pleasure of making a straightforward model. So that's what I have to say on this one. So separate to this, I'm actually going to make it. I'm going to make it as straight as it can go. And there may be another one I'll do, and I'll put a load of stuff and junk all over, which would free up the little men for something else. But there it is, one of my favourite models of all time. So thank you for watching. Thank you for bothering to watch this one, and thank you for going along with my ramble. Anyway, we'll have to make this soon, won't we? See you in a bit.